Hello, my friends. Hello, and welcome to this Equinox weekend edition of Less Fox Friday. This is also the weekend of a solar eclipse. We will not be able to see it here in North America. It's going to be visible in, I think, parts of the Southern Pacific, Australia, New Zealand, that area. Just because we can't see it doesn't mean that we don't feel its effects, and you don't have to drink this Kool-Aid to have the experience. So if people around you are making some interesting choices, remember, you don't have to pick up the rope. You don't have to pick up your end of the rope in any of this. If people are making interesting choices and they'd like to include you, you can say no thank you. It's okay to not have plans this weekend. Eclipse energy is interesting that way because it seems like it would be like enhancing the impact of the moon even more, but it actually creates kind of a shadow, right? Because it blocks the light. So the eclipse energy is more one of a pause, like, and breath work is a great tool to use during eclipses or eclipse time. It's also a great tool to use during the season change. And I don't know if you can see the wafts of smoke coming through, but I also tend to use kind of aromatherapy. This is my favorite brand of, I think it's Nag Champa. That's how I've always read it. I'm maybe saying something erroneously. It is Satya Sai Baba Nag Champa, and this is my favorite brand. I've smelled other brands of this same label that label themselves as Nag Champa, and they don't smell like this to me. So my point is, what brings you back home to yourself during this weekend of transitions and shadows? And to that end, I'm going to draw something from the Rebel deck that's going to help us navigate this energy, because it can feel like a little bit of an upheaval. And if you've watched me before, the Rebel deck is a little spicy. So we'll see how spicy the Rebel deck is about all this energetic transition. All right. Wow. Okay. So, these all came out of a piece. I will start back here with shiz is going down with your job. Reevaluate, change your perspective, or fox and quit. So I don't know if this feels literal to you. I think about my job. I think about my job versus the work that I do now versus the many hats that I wear, right? All of that could be called a job. And in that perspective, shiz is going down with all of our jobs because we're going through stuff. We're going through it. In whatever ways we're experiencing life right now, we're going through it. So how about the sentence is just shiz is going down with life? Reevaluate, change your perspective, or fox and quit. I don't recommend quitting life. There are a variety of ways in which we do that with distractions and shiny objects, which are distractions, and the stories we tell ourselves. We can numb ourselves. We can pretend we don't notice. That takes us to a certain point, and then we have to decide whether we're going to, well, like with everything, we have to decide whether we're going to continue to perpetuate that story or we're going to allow ourselves to see what's happening, to start to accept what's happening so that we can decide, right? Reevaluate. How do I see this? How does it impact me? How can I bring my best self to this situation? How can I invite other people to bring their best selves? Because reevaluation isn't just, if it doesn't meet these 5 criteria, I'm out. It can be that. It can also be like, okay, what are the things I love about this? What are the things I enjoy about this? When you change your perspective, you change your mindset. Sometimes people are like, yeah, I just feel like I'm making up a lie, like I'm lying to myself. Okay, you have more information. This is what it feels like when I lie to myself, right? So when we have more information, we can change our perspective. We're reevaluating by gathering more information. Foxing quitting feels like, well, what else am I supposed to do? What if quitting looked like simply doing it differently? I am quitting that story. I am quitting that old pattern of behavior that's not serving me anymore. I am quitting that action that I see that's not helpful or supportive to me or to other people. Shiz is going down. We're constantly being invited to practice, right? And if your practice involves like, how can I see more clearly what's happening? How does it impact me? How can I show up? Who do I want to be in this situation? What's most important to me here? When we answer those questions, we get clear on why we're doing something, what's the driving force behind it, do we want to keep doing it, or do we want to change it? That's clarity. So if shiz is going down, if your spidey sense is tingling and you're like, something's going on, it almost doesn't matter what that thing is that's happening because something's twanging your web, right? Something is getting your attention and saying, hey, look over here, pay attention. The first question I always ask myself is this true? Is this a distraction? Can these things both be true? Because that's how my brain goes. When we see something from a new perspective, when we see something in a different way, when we see something in a way that's more true, that gives us more information, that's the beginning of reevaluating. And then we say, okay, what's here for me? Am I here? What lesson is here for me? What lesson did I learn from this experience? Am I just done with this? Like, there doesn't have to be a thing that happens that says to us, you're done now. We can just decide, right? We can say, yeah, this system was working for me, and then it stopped working for me. I can try it again and see what happens, right? We gather more information, we reevaluate. And then we say, oh, it doesn't work for me anymore right now. I'll put it aside in favor of something else. We ask people we know, like, and trust. What works for you? What do you find beneficial? If you had an experience like this, how would you approach it, right? Just allowing ourselves to get more information so we can have more clarity. And I'm not saying that information gives us clarity. I'm saying that information helps us decide what's my next right step, what's aligned for me, what is going to bring me closer to my vision, what's going to bring me closer to my highest good. The next one is upside down. You are talented and foxing amazing. Whoever needs to hear this, this is for you. There's no signier sign today than this upside down message of you are talented and foxing amazing. The world needs your power. Use your voice, just not for dumb shiz. What's dumb shiz? Are you engaging in peppery discourse with strangers whose opinions ultimately don't impact your daily life? Where are your energy leaks? When we use our voices, we allow ourselves to show more of who we are. When we use our voices, we can use them from a place of intention and clarity. We can use them from a place of obfuscation, of blocking, blocking the path, or embellishing the story, or perpetuating the story. When we use our voices for dumb shiz, we are representing ourselves in a way that doesn't show who we are at our best. When we use our voices for dumb shiz, we may be perpetuating stuff that's entertaining but doesn't really have an impact. Not everything has to be serious and, planned and rigid. That doesn't ever really pan out either. So the answer is somewhere in the middle, right? Each of us has a superpower that we bring to the table that's unique to us. Each of us has some sort of characteristic melange, mix, that brings forward our best selves. And that's what we offer to everybody we meet. We can't make them take it. And if we are turning ourselves into clowns in order to ensure that people see us, those aren't our people. Wherever you're putting your energy and power right now, ask yourself, in this pause of eclipse weekend, in this pause before we step over the equinox threshold, ask yourself, how is this serving me? Is this action or behavior or characteristic bringing my best self forward? Is this how I want to be seen in the world? I have a good friend who's asking herself that question right now. And it's a hard question to ask yourself because this is how I've acted for so long. It's become part of my identity. It's become part of who I believe I am. The question is that who I want to be? And I'm not suggesting that you make up a character to be. I'm suggesting that you allow more of you to come forward. This came up in a reading with a client yesterday, and I kept saying, just please be more of you. And she was like, I'm not sure what that means. And I said, lead yourself with your heart. Keep the information in your head. The head can ride shotgun. Let the heart be the guide. When we ask ourselves, like, is this a yes? And we get that confirmation, and it's different for each of us. It's a whole body yes. We each experience it a different way. The next is an excellent question. What the fox do you want? Imagine it. Write it down, get aligned, and work for it. Just wishing for it doesn't do shiz. I talk about this with people a lot. When we have clarity, when we know what the fox we want, we can start to ask for it. You wouldn't walk into a restaurant, you might, and say, I'm hungry, bring me food. Because they could bring you anything. They could bring you stuff that you don't like. They could bring you stuff that turns your nervous system entirely off. They could bring you stuff that you're allergic to. They could bring you stuff that might potentially harm you, right? If you say, I want food, they could bring you anything. When you say, I'd like the potato chip encrusted haddock with the asparagus risotto and a side house salad with blue cheese dressing on the side. That's pretty specific, right? If they bring you a cheeseburger, you're like, no, that's clearly not what I asked for. That must not be mine. It's not, oh, did I not speak clearly? It's, oh, did I make a mistake? Did I somehow? No. If you're concerned about it, hone it. Make it simpler. Make it clearer. Potato chip crusted haddock, asparagus risotto, side house salad, blue cheese. Whatever the fox you want, you can ask for. The next part of manifesting, because that's what this is taking aligned action that brings you closer to what it is you want. We can say, I want $100,000, and then we look up to the sky and we wait for a bag of money. That's not really going to pan out well. I did an exercise once where I wrote down, all down the front of a page of a piece of paper, I thank the universe for bringing me $10,000 a month. I wrote that like 27 times or however many lines were on the page. And then I sat back and waited for it. I didn't get $10,000 a month. Because all I did was say, boy, I wish I had $10,000 a month. I didn't consider the aligned actions that would bring me closer to that. That took some time. When we are clear on what the fox we want, we can ask for it, and then we are not handed it. We are offered opportunities to step toward it. And we know because we feel it. Is this it? Yes. Thunk. Another puzzle piece clicks into place, right? And the last one, upside down, is rebel. Because fox it. You are talented and foxing amazing. The world needs your power. Stand in your power and rebel. Stand in your power and stand up for your core values. Stand in your power and stand up for what you believe to be true. Stand in your power and stand up for who you are. Stand up and invite conversation, invite connection, invite discussion, invite interaction. Our younger son is a junior in high school this year. And his school, like a lot of schools in our state, I think it became a state mandate actually, or is in process of becoming a state mandate, decided to have a no phone policy. So the kids either don't bring their phones in, or they have this RFID pouch or RIFD pouch that they put their phones in that are locked up for the day. If there's an emergency, it's our responsibility to notify the office, or the office's responsibility to notify the emergency contacts. Just like in the good old days when we had to put a nickel in the payphone or call collect and talk really fast and hang up. So I went to a parents-only school gathering last night, and one of the things that came up was this no phones policy. And across the board, everybody said how amazing it's been to see the kids interacting, to see them having discussions, to see them engaging with each other, to see them being in community rather than just in physical proximity. And I think about rebelling against what we say we don't want. And I think about the enormity of the idea of rebelling. Like, you make a t-shirt, I'll make a banner. Let's make signs. What are we rebelling? How specific can you get? How clear can you get about what is pushing your buttons? Where are you being activated? How can you use some of your energy to stand in the face of that? Not even to push back, but simply to rebel by standing in the face of. We rebel by choosing to set a boundary. We rebel by choosing to put down our devices. And I know the irony of taking this in on a device, whether it's a laptop or a phone or a tablet or whatever it is. I get it. At the same time, if after this you felt the wonder, I wonder what it would be like to put my phone down for a half hour. I'm going to set this timer and put my phone down and walk away. How much real estate is taken up in your brain by what's going on your phone? Where can you direct that attention elsewhere? Where can you direct that energy toward creating something that helps you express yourself, that helps you express what the fox you want, that helps you get clear about how talented and foxing amazing you are, and how you want to use your power, how you want to explore? Because you can always change your perspective. You can always do it differently. It doesn't have to blow up your life. That's a level of commitment that sometimes pushes people away. And I am here to tell you that it doesn't have to look any kind of way. We can rebel in the ways that bring us alive, in the ways that help us take care of ourselves, tend to ourselves as we prepare for this coming transition, for this coming shadow, for this coming season of darker days, less sunshine, as we make our way toward the winter solstice, right? Boy, I've gone all around Robin Hood's barn over here. So if your intention is to rebel, if your intention is to stand in your power, if your intention is to speak even when your voice shakes, I would invite you, especially on this weekend of equinox transition and eclipse shadow, to create pockets of rest, to allow yourself to feel your energy so that you can pull it down and in, so that you can ground your energy. Some people ground by putting their feet literally on the ground. Some people ground by getting into water, whether it's a shower or bath. Some people ground by paying attention to the water they're drinking as it's going down their esophagus. We can do it with air, by breathing, by grounding into a scent like incense or an oil, an essential oil, or a mist, right? Bringing us back to our senses, grounding us in our bodies. Allow yourself to rest. Allow yourself to stay grounded, to keep coming home to yourself, keep welcoming yourself home. And give yourself opportunities to really breathe deeply. Breath work is a beautiful practice at a time like this. You can do 4-count box breathing. Inhale 4, hold 4, exhale 4, hold 4. You can do 4-8-7. You can do 5-4-3-2-1. Like, you can just make up breath work. What matters is that you are expanding, that you're feeling your rib cage expand, you're feeling your collarbones separate, and then you're exhaling and allowing your body to push that air out, not with effort, but with awareness. Resting, pockets of rest, even 2 minutes of conscious rest, just staring at the wall. Not looking for patterns, not seeing the color, not looking at the smudges or the cracks or any of it, just staring. Allowing your eyes to actively, this sounds weird, but to actively rest, like just taking in input without the brain engaging labels, without having to have all the details, just seeing. Anyway, I feel like I have said more than what I needed to say. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That was a lot. If you have questions about self-care for eclipse season, if you have thoughts about what is supporting you right now, if you want to share a practice that you've been doing that feels especially nurturing, drop it in the comments below. There are still seats for Cards and Connections, which is my collaboration with my friend Angela, who is a woman of a vast array of gifts. We are offering an event tomorrow evening. Starts at 6 o'clock. It's in Clinton, Massachusetts. The link is in the usual place. Look for the button that says Cards and Connections. My wish is that you are finding ways to navigate this weekend that feel nourishing and nurturing to you. There we go. Until we see each other again, however that is, please take the very best care.